Now, the ongoing bushfire crisis has led to the cancellation of fireworks tonight in several locations, including Melbourne, Sydney and Canberra, as pressure increases to find alternatives to pyrotechnic displays. Technology could be the answer. Tech expert Djuro Sen joins me now. Djuro, let's recap why some fireworks aren't on.
Tim, good morning. It's all about the bushfires, of course, and the reason is that a lot of resources have gone into fighting in Melbourne, so they don't want to have the displays on because there might be a risk of people being injured. And also, it's almost a feel thing. Some of the councils think we shouldn't be doing it in dry areas at the moment, and that's the main reason. And, you know, we obviously had the call for the harbour fireworks in Sydney to be cancelled. That didn't happen, but there are a lot of places in Sydney, Melbourne, and of course the ACT that won't be doing it.
Yeah, various spots, obviously as well, out of respect. So how can you match fireworks with technology?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I think I'm going to call for the fact that in the next few years we should be pushing to get rid of fireworks at these big celebrations because the new tech is that good. I experienced in China just a year or so ago, I'm going to show you some vision now, of how buildings can light up, and it's a bit like, you know, they have the light shows during the Vivid and stuff like this. This is incredible. This is the city of Shenzhen, and there are 42 buildings around the city packed with LEDs and laser lights, and it's run to music. So here's part one of how you can overcome with celebrations. Admittedly, you have to do this in a CBD or an area like downtown Sydney or Melbourne, and this is an unbelievable display. Half an hour display went every night for a year, Tim. And some place like China is probably the place you can pull it off, but it was incredible. It told the history of it, and I mean, you sit in the middle and you're really blown away.
Djuro, you're going to be called a party pooper by a lot of people this morning.
Come on, come on. Well, what is it you like about the fireworks? What do you think people like about it? It's just the...
Well, I think particularly for younger people and the children, that's the noise, it's the colour, it's the majesty, the magic, and yeah... Look, personally, I don't know if we can match it. You know technology better than I. I can't change a light bulb, but
yeah,
what can happen in the sky?
Well, what I've just showed you was spectacular. You've really got to be there. That's part of it. But in the sky, have a look at this. Now, during the celebrations in China, they actually pre-recorded this a couple of days before New Year's Eve. But they showed that they could use drones to simulate what happens when it comes to the actual explosive nature of fireworks. Don't forget, it's an explosive device that goes up in the air. But so this is in China. This is Ehang drone makers that make passenger drones as well. And this swarm technology is really reaching a point. So that's the early days yet. But look at that. They're sort of simulating the explosive nature of the firework itself. Now, as I said, early days, but I think eventually this is going to happen because it opens up so many more opportunities. Look at the dragon there, Tim. That's pretty cool. And, you know, see things like this, like other objects walking, like this guy walking through the air. Now, combined with music, you can get that explosive sound and that sort of stuff. I think we're going to head there eventually. Maybe not too soon, but, you know, there's a lot less carbon in the air and it's probably a bit safer too. But these things are quite spectacular and they're being used in all sorts of shows. So maybe a party pooper for the traditional fireworks, and I love them. There's no doubt about it. But, you know, just for some people, they're on the nose at the moment. And I'm just saying that tech possibly is going to be the solution down the track.
Don't get me wrong, I think it's absolutely magical, and I'm sure that in the opening ceremony of Tokyo 2020 we're going to see a lot of tech. Yeah. The advancement has been extraordinary. I mean, that's going to be a real showcase, isn't it? It
is, you know, and I think the Olympics and other events like that are great examples. I mean, the Olympics in Tokyo are going to be the highest tech event of all time. You know, the 8K TV coverage, you're going to see every blade of grass during the Olympics. But look at that, like you get a flag in the air and that sort of stuff. Look, the possibilities are endless, and I get it. You know, the Sydney fireworks in particular are absolutely spectacular there, but this is definitely the way we're heading, and I think in a few years we'll be seeing drones doing the same job as many explosive projectiles.
Well, there you go, Djuro Sen with his crystal ball this morning. Now, you've done an interesting story on manners and tech. Now, how important is it to be polite with Siri or Alexa or Google Assistant? I know my kids love playing, like most kids do, they love sort of ask, "Are you married, Siri?"
Have you had a moment when you've asked Siri something and it hasn't responded correctly? Do you get a bit angry at it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. When you do repeated things.
It's unacceptable to get angry, isn't it?
It is. Look, I spoke to a lot of people. So this is like the Amazon Alexa and this is the Google Home. Now, I've spoken to a lot of people. I've got a little story coming up soon on Sky News, but I wanted just to flag it now. And there are mixed responses, even from the people who make the technology. So some of them say, yeah, your kids who say, and they do it automatically, which is great. So the kids say, hey, Google, do this, and they get the answer. They say, oh, thanks, Google. So there's an automatic response. Now, as these things get even more clever, you will think that you become friends with it. And then you go, OK, it's just a machine, but, you know, you sort of build a bond with it. And I find myself actually responding like, yeah, thanks.
Will they be nicer to you, do you think, going forward?
Look, you can build some... with the Alexa one, they built some sass in there as well, deliberately, so it can have a shot at you if you're being a bit cheeky to it. But they can dial it back as well. But the more they're going to be in your room... So, I don't know, Tim, if you see the kids being polite to it, do you say, don't be polite to it? I would think that I would err on the side of caution of people being polite to anyone, even if it's a machine.
Oh, absolutely. Good manners, you know, they're the most important thing. Yeah. Now, what about the advancement in this area? I think that it's a bit of an anecdote of where we've got to, that we get upset when, you know, Siri might give us the wrong name. I might ask to call for someone, they say, OK, I'll call Djuro Sen. But that's where we're at. You become a bit complacent, don't you? You become...
when it comes to these things, you have very high expectations. So you get annoyed at it. You know, why isn't it doing it? Like Siri's probably the poorest performer. The Google one, as you're looking for the best personal assistant, is miles ahead of everyone else. And it's because of the extra data that Google has on everyone. And it's got screens like the one at home, as you saw in that clip. It knows who I am when it sees me and greets me, and you just start. I'm starting to get friendly with my tech.
You're becoming a member of the Jetsons, just a bit like Jaime and Maxwell Smart.
Look, love Jaime.
Yeah, love Jaime. Look, good to see you.
You too,
I better let you go and respond to all those social media complaints about you trying to get rid of fireworks.
I still love them, mate, but it's going to happen.
You put up a good argument.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Djuro.
All right, mate. See you
next week.